When the world's biggest matches are on, it's the perfect excuse to get together with friends, enjoy every goal, every save, every celebration, and have a little fun. But this year, have fun and still remember the score. If you love vodka without the hangover or loss of control, check out RK Zero Proof Vodka. RK is redefining what alcohol-free can taste like. Since 2011, RK has delivered the familiar burn without the alcohol. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 regrets. Drink differently. Get yours at rkbeverages.com.
WBSM presents The Ken Pittman Show. Streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Now, Ken Pittman.
Welcome to the Ken Pittman Show. You know, your conversation, Paul, at the end of the show, because I very rarely disagree with your sports observations. I find myself pondering the Tom Brady stuff, but then I have another take on the Brown trade. It's not very popular with the Celtics fans that he was traded, and he's looking forward to revenge, as you said. I agree with that, but this is going to work out for the Celtics because they'll have their two first-round draft choices and the 2 first-round draft choices from Philadelphia. They can package up 4 first-rounders and move up to a top 5 draft choice and get somebody who eclipses Tatum and Brown if the right player's there. This could be really great for the Celtics' future. Brown, to me, one area of his game is he just never corrected that getting the ball stripped from him as he drove. It cost games. He took over some games. He's definitely capable of a lot, but I just think this is going to work out for the Celtics because they have now a lot of trade capital to move up in the draft. And if they see a superstar or one of those years where there's 5-6 franchise players in a draft, they're going to make the move, and that could really work out.
Right. I don't necessarily disagree with that in the sense that, if the Celtics go out there and use this to trade for a free agent, let's say, or package that and get somebody really big to surround Tatum with the kind of talent that he needs, especially a real big, which is something that they've always fallen short, and you surround him with the right supporting cast, I think the Celtics can do just fine because Tatum and Brown, they're both playing the same position. So, they're both wings. You know what I mean?
Skill sets are similar, so you have a little too much of the same thing.
That's why Brown thrived without Tatum there because, he's not kind of in the way, more opportunity and all that. The quarrel that I have is that I've always viewed Brown and Tatum as very close in talent. But yet, Tatum is treated like this royalty, this favorite son. And Brown is always like, yeah, he's kind of like the number 2 and all that. Well, I don't really think he's the number 2. I think they were both pretty even.
1 and 1A.
But yet Brown is like, I don't know, he's treated like this second-class citizen. If you remember, we mentioned it 100 times. Brown was the guy that led you to that championship. He was the MVP of the semifinals and the MVP of the finals. And Tatum still hasn't shown me that he can really come through in the clutch.
In the biggest moments.
No, he's always gagged. He clanks the last shot all the time. In the Knicks series that they lost, they were ahead by 20 in the first 2 games, blew both of those games. They'll point out that in the 7th game against Philadelphia that Brown was incapable of carrying the team to that victory, but yet Tatum played Game 6 and Game 5, and they still lost.
Yeah.
So again, and now...
The problem with the Celtics, too, not to interrupt, sorry, is that the division is getting very good.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The Knicks are going to be there. Sixers now, a serious threat. There's no... and the Celtics now find themselves 3, maybe 4 players away from really winning the NBA championship.
Right. And, Philadelphia, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Embiid gets hurt a lot. So if he gets hurt a lot, that's going to hurt. But if he's healthy, right, now they talk about a big three. Philadelphia has a big three now with Brown, Maxey, and Embiid. The problem is, can those three guys cooperate? Because anytime you have big stars like that, hey, we're talking about big egos here. This guy wants the ball, that guy wants the ball, who had the most points, blah, blah, blah. If those three guys can coexist and Embiid stays healthy, that's a very good team, too.
It sure is.
Yeah.
It sure is. So, Tom Brady, I'm not sure where this rumor came from. I know they were talking about it on Boston Sports Radio.
Yes.
I'd like to see where the source is before I believe something like that.
Yeah.
That he was helping the Seattle Seahawks with the Super Bowl defense on how to beat McDaniel's.
Right. It's not like it's been proven beyond a reasonable doubt or anything. And, I always like to say allegedly, being an attorney, and I know you're an investigator and so forth. But it wouldn't surprise me. Let me just say that because, the egos, these players, and for somebody to succeed at that level.
I didn't think there was a bad time to release Brady. I didn't. He's a 43-year-old quarterback. They were one and done at home in the playoffs against a very underwhelming Tennessee playoff team. $25 million, $30 million the next year. I think it was a good time to let him go. It's never a good time to let go of the greatest of all time, right? And he still had a little left in the tank, but you
can understand why they did it.
Well, and he also chose a team that was pretty much a Lamborghini except for the quarterback position.
That's right. He was smart.
Yeah, he was very smart. He moved to a team that, they did 3 on the road in the wild card and really tough road, but they got it done. And he's the most clutch player I've ever seen in my life. But
me too.
I still think it was a good time to let him go.
Well, when you look back at it now, right, it's easy for us to say now, how could they have traded the greatest of all time and all that? But most of the time, you look at Joe Montana, you look at all of the great quarterbacks toward the end. Usually they go to another team, maybe they get in the playoffs, but they never really go all the way again after that. They kind of fade, especially in the early 40s like that.
Remarkable what he did. And Peyton Manning, same thing. When he left, when they went with Andrew Luck over him, they didn't think his neck was going to recover. He went to a fantastic team without a quarterback.
But it goes to show you, right, if you surround a guy like Brady with the right talent, with his knowledge, like he always said, I have the answers to the test. There's no defense that he hasn't seen. Right. And he's very smart. He's a very cerebral guy. He would study and study and study. So his position was, hey, I know all the defenses. No matter what they throw at me, I know what to do. And then he goes out and recruits Gronk to come out of retirement to go back in the team. And in that Super Bowl, Gronk had 2 touchdowns.
He gets the dismissed Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Right? He had some incredible players in that team. But, it was a tired Patriots team. I mean, when you draft at or near the bottom for 2 decades, you're not going to have the talent that other teams in the league have, no matter who you are. And they defied gravity for so long. It was a tired and spent team when Brady left, and they weren't going to do anything no matter who was behind center. They really weren't. There wasn't enough talent on that team.
Yeah, but I still would have liked to see Brady retire a Patriot. You know what I mean?
It would have been good, but I think at the same time, you would not today have Drake May. Things would have been different. It's tough to find a franchise quarterback. Drake May could be a fantastic player. It looks like he could be. Yeah. So you never know. I mean, who knew that Michael Jackson would deliver the Patriots 6 Super Bowls?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, right.
You know about that, right?
Yeah, explain that.
So
I heard some of this.
When the Sullivans owned the New England Patriots, they wanted to get into the entertainment business, and they thought Michael Jackson was a big cash cow opportunity. So the Victory Tour, they threw a heavy investment in. They left out in the caveat that if Michael Jackson was injured, their money wasn't covered. So they put all this money up front for the tour. Michael Jackson's hair burned in a Pepsi commercial, and the tour was canceled. They lost tens of millions of dollars. They just weren't, for some reason, the contract didn't cover that scenario. So they had to sell. And they sold it to actual football people who knew how to build a team. Then you have, you got Bill Parcells coming in, and in comes Bill Belichick as his defensive coordinator. The team's drafting well. You get Ty Law, you get all these great players. And then, of course, Tom Brady, because Belichick came back. And without that tree, without that series of events, Michael Jackson's hair catching on fire. We don't have Tom Brady. We don't have Bill Belichick. We don't have Bill Parcells.
And everything that happens after that doesn't happen.
We get the Sullivans in their crazy, refusal to let real football people run the team. Still, So that's a true story. Michael Jackson gave the Patriots 6 Super Bowls indirectly.
Well, that's okay. Well, that's how life is. You come to a fork in the road, and something happens this way or that way, it can change everything.
Yeah.
You've been watching the World Cup at all?
So I haven't been watching a lot of it, but I am impressed with the soccer culture that came here, and I'm very happy for the United States and FIFA, because it was a great marriage. The people from around the world were surprised at how much they loved the Americans. They were told things quite differently wherever they're coming from, and they were treated like gold, and they acted wonderfully, right? I mean, but we can't have asked for a better group of people to come into the country. 3 million visitors, and for the most part, there's been no issues. Fantastic,
great to see
interaction between the Americans and the fans, and it's been a great cup. Probably the most controversial thing is we got a president who needlessly bragged that he intervened to FIFA and asked the president to look at the play where our star was bounced for the game and then reversed it. He should not have mentioned that. If he did that, right, fine, but don't brag about it, because now the rest of the world's going to be, so here we go. They're going to favor the United States. They're the home team. And, Belgium, they had a legitimate complaint.
Well, and I think Belgium, and I'm not sure if Chris agrees with me, because Chris Santos, my partner, seemed to think that Belgium was considerably better than the United States anyway. But talk about bulletin board materials. You saw at the end of the game, they were holding up, overturn this.
It matters.
And they were doing the YMCA dance and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So they were like very happy to kind of rub it in the Americans' face. So I think it kind of backfired. Yeah, you're right. If he did it, it's fine. I understand. Well-intended. You know what I mean? Look at that call. Hey, can you take another look at it? It was a pretty bad call, but
an appropriate call of the president of the United States to intervene. But then
exactly.
to publicly brag and upset the world, that's. I mean, he's not coachable.
He can't help himself.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's true. It's true.
He's kind of got like a Michael Scott as president.
Why does he get into arguments with like comedians in the middle of the night? You know what I mean? Like it's 3:00 in the morning, and he's having arguments with Bill Maher and Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm thinking, just ignore those guys. They're comedians.
It's a little creepy that he never sleeps.
Yeah.
Right? And this false narrative that the guy is fading, he's got a motor like nobody. I
don't see that. Not really.
No way.
I mean, how old is he? 80 what?
80.
80.
I think he's 80.
So let's say I'll be 80 in 15 years.
Love to have that motor.
So if I can still be going like that with that lack of sleep and everything, I think that'd be great.
Calm down the motor mouth, but have that motor. That's not a bad thing.
By the way, Ken is very humble in terms of his ability as a musician. You were playing before 2,000 people last night during the whole.
Up in the Hingham Shipyard Launch, great concert series they have up there. So that's why I probably sound a little hoarse. We did over 2-hour show.
Did you have to do a lot of yelling and screaming?
I don't know. Hopefully not screaming.
Was that all the Bon Jovi stuff?
Yeah, but we do a medley of non-Bon Jovis in the middle of the show that traditionally, like some Van Halen and Def Leppard, things appropriate for that genre.
So as a performer, when you got a crowd like that, I know you said that you actually played in front of a 14,000-seat arena one time. For the performer, right? I know you're focusing on what you have to do, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, but you must get a surge of energy from the crowd, right?
When you first come out, right, you're like, wow, look at this, right? It's almost surreal. But then when the show starts, I get the in-ear monitors go on, so I can't really even hear the audience like applause. The videos after you is when you get to enjoy it. You're just really concentrating to make sure you don't screw up in front of these massive amounts of people. You just want to do a good job. So you're really just focused, and you don't get to enjoy as much as you think the show during the show. Afterward, when you come back, it all sinks in when you go back to the green room with the band and all that stuff. But during the show, it's really about just making sure you don't screw up and you stay focused.
Right. Well, maybe you'll be like Mick Jagger and you'll be out there in your 80s.
There's a motor.
Jumping around. Speaking of people in their 80s, wow.
God, I saw the Stones in '89 thinking, I better go now because I'll never see them again. And they're still out there in 26. Oh, my God. I mean, they started in, 61?
And speaking of motor, he has a 37-year-old girlfriend.
Mick, is anybody surprised, right?
No.
Well, he's also a billionaire, so so that doesn't hurt.
No, exactly.
Paulina Porizkova, the former Cars singer. What was his name?
Oh,
Rick
from
Ocasek.
Boston, yes.
Yeah, they got divorced. Ugly divorce. He didn't even leave her anything in the will. And she just married a billionaire. And the guy, he's nothing to look at, and she still looks stunning, but money. He goes from a 4 to a 10 because of the, like Belichick.
Will you ever see John Henry? This is not exactly, George Clooney. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's got this very attractive wife, and I think she's like in her 40s or something.
Like I said, Belichick keeps a picture of his girlfriend on his bedside table, and she keeps a picture of his wallet.
Hey, we're in agreement there. Hey, have a great show, Ken. Thank you for letting me stay over for a few minutes. All right.
Good to see you. All right, I'll be right back. We're going to take a break, and we'll return. I'm going to talk about the Plattner, the DSA, the Iranian deal collapsing. All of that was predictable, all of it. We'll get back right after this.
All right, have a great
This is New Bedford's news talk station, WBSM.
Some people take careful little bites. A nibble here, a polite sip there. But not you. When you go to AM/PM, you top your hot dog so it's just as tall as it is long. You pair your sour gummy worms with gummy bears for company. To you, balance means a glazed donut with a powdered donut. Power washed down with a freshly brewed beverage. Don't go for a snack walk. Go for a snack run. Cause AM/PM's got more than enough for a marathon.
AM/PM, too much good stuff.
We are New Bedford's news talk station, WBSM. Pittman. This is the Ken Pittman Show on 1420 WBSM.
All right, so Graham Plattner, the 100% mentally disabled veteran, getting $5,800 a month from the government because he can't function in society. Nazi. Went out and got himself a tattoo of a Nazi death squad symbol. These guys used to go around exterminating Jews, invalids, gays in Europe. He put it on his chest. He admits to being addicted to masturbating in porta potties, public restrooms, porta potties. There's video of him watching a fellow U.S. soldier in combat getting shot by the Taliban, saying the guy deserves to die. The only reason he's alive is the Taliban missed him. He deserves to die. He's an idiot. Purple Heart recipient. And that's what he had to say about him. What was the other thing before the endorsements? They get a comment he had made on social media that if he'd love to have somebody invade his house that he could rape them to show dominance. All that was known about Graham Plattner. That did not stop our Massachusetts U.S. Senator from fully endorsing him. Elizabeth Warren, the biggest fool on the planet.
I'm endorsing Graham Plattner for Senate in Maine. And here's the reason why. Graham Plattner is the real deal. He's a fighter, and he's ready to take that fight to Washington. Graham actually knows hard work. He's an oyster farmer in Maine. Graham knows the consequences of Donald Trump sending our service members to fight endless wars in the Middle East. He's a combat veteran who was deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he understands what's happening to working people when there's not someone in Washington fighting like hell for your family. We've already seen it. Hospitals are closing down. Gas prices are...
So all these things were known about him. And she didn't blink. She went right forward. And a lot of the Democrats did. They did it in big numbers, I guess. The herd mentality, they can't get us all if something goes sideways. Well, something did go sideways. An ex-girlfriend of his interviewed on CNN, making a very credible rape allegation that he kicked her door in and forcibly raped her. Then, and the only reason the Democrats pulled their endorsements is because they looked at the polling. He's tanking. And believe me, if the polls weren't moving, they were going to go forward with him. Well, he's innocent until proven guilty. Trust me, that would have happened. If they can put up with everything that he just said and did, But before they offered their endorsements, because all these things were known that I just mentioned before the rape allegation. And they went forward. They didn't blink. That's how much party matters over country. And you get the folks who will say, well, you voted for Trump, so you have no high moral ground. Plain and simple, 70 million Americans are convinced after watching the way Trump was hunted down by first the Obama administration and then the Biden administration. They don't believe Donald Trump sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll. That claim was laughed out of a lot of courts for decades. They finally judge shopped a radical judge who gave ridiculous rules to the jurors who found him guilty of sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll in a clothing store, a department store back in the 90s. Now, she said she kept the dress that she was wearing to remind her of what happened. The dress that she claims to use as that reminder wasn't even available until a year after that claim was made. She didn't know that. But I think the Americans saw a kangaroo court and a guy was railroaded in that case. And that's how I feel. That's how I believe happened. You know, but this situation with Plattner, the Democrats have gone from the Me Too movement to the Et Tu party. You could put a complete scumbag like this into the Senate. And Donald Trump is uncoachable, okay? He says a lot of crazy things. One of the things that drove me crazy this year was his, what did he say, 35, 40 times we have a deal with Iran? And I'm on social media saying, Mr. President, stop saying it. It's never going to get done. Don't say it again. You're going to end up having to destroy this regime. They're not going to survive this unless you want us to lose this campaign to limit Iran's ability to harm us. Some of that was done. It's not done completely. I mean, they're openly saying they're going to kill President Trump. And sadly, there's a fraction of Americans who are hoping that happens. And it's not a small fraction. Now, I don't care who the president is. I don't want to see the president assassinated. That's an attack on all of us. As an American, I'm ashamed of so many Americans right now that are hoping for Iran's success. And Elizabeth Warren calling this an endless war. It's several months old. Endless war. And she said wars. Where's the other war Donald Trump started? He got us out of wars. Barack Obama claims he couldn't stop ISIS in their murderous campaign that killed tens of thousands between Iraq, Syria, Libya. I mean, they were all over North Africa and the Middle East murdering. Growing army. Barack Obama claims he couldn't do much about it. Donald Trump got into office. He destroyed them in 3 months. Leadership eviscerated. Now, they've since rebuilt, but not on his watch. That was under the 4 years Biden was there. Regardless, he's got to close his mouth and close his phone. We've had really talented people in the White House since the beginning who have been the human filter to make sure whatever the president says is presidential. And 45 of those presidents pretty much listened by comparison. But this guy, he's uncoachable. He's going to say what he says. He's going to do what he wants. It sits well with probably 25, 30% of the Americans. But the other 25, 30% that voted for him, they cringe. I cringe. He says things that are unnecessary, that are harmful, that don't help. Needless friction between, Canada, no, Greenland, Italy. I mean, why do that? I don't think it's mental decline. The guy's the same guy that was on the escalator in 2015 announcing his presidency. It has nothing to do with his age. This is the same person. But I don't always care for what Donald Trump says or what he does or why he does things. And he ignores some of these great minds that are supposed to be there for the president so that they don't make these kind of faux pas. But you're never going to get a guy like that to listen. But the Democrats now have all pulled their endorsements of Graham Plattner. This is a Bernie baby, by the way. Bernie Sanders, this is his guy. And he will not be held accountable because he's an 85-year-old fool, a real communist. Bernie Sanders, as a young man, joined a communist compound in Vermont, and he was eventually kicked out because he wouldn't help do any work. They growing their own food and all this crap, these communist hippies. They're like, yeah, you got to go. He got bounced from a communist camp. And then when he became the mayor of Burlington, he's not a socialist. He's a communist. He's just not willing to say it out loud. Well, I don't care. He actually went down to Nicaragua and he celebrated with the violent Sandinistas who murdered the government down there, murdered peasants, murdered anybody that was not open to the communist change. Daniel Ortega's people went down there with the Soviet advisors who were there to help the Nicaragua Sandinistas fight. And he celebrated their victory. He's a lot nastier than you think. But this Plattner guy, a disgusting human being, this is Bernie's guy. And he owes his party an apology. I'm grateful to Bernie Sanders because I think he's just delivered the 26 midterms to the Republicans. And that means very likely the 28 presidential elections. Because I do not see a legitimate Democratic Party challenger to the White House. Where is the talent? Where's it going to come from? AOC? Kamala Harris? Gavin Newsom? I mean, come on. There's so many holes in their stories. Just so many examples of incapability. They're going to get picked apart pretty badly. 508-996-0500. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Hi, Ken.
Good morning.
Morning. How come we can't get these rapers and murderers out of here? That I heard on the radio all week that in Minnesota, it's Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
That guy from Laos that
raped a child.
Yeah, and they stepped in, Rubio, right?
Yeah, because Tim Walz pardoned the guy.
I know that, but he stepped in and got him right out of the country.
Kicked him out.
Right. Well, how come they can't do? It's because over here the Democrats, we got Maura Healey, and then they don't step in and do anything about it, right?
Maura Healey said that rounding them up doesn't make our community safer. And now we know the numbers. So about 600,000 have been netted so far, and roughly 330,000 are criminal, like serious criminals. So you're talking about 18 per town and city. Every town and city in America, you've removed 18 criminals. And she's saying it doesn't make us safer.
But that's the reason why we have them here, right? We could get them out of here easier if they did it. If Rubio stepped in and did it, right there's an example, isn't it?
Well, I think there's moral behavior clauses where they can forfeit their ability to stay, and that's what he used there as the State Department leader. But you got to find him first. And the problem with this, these ICE roundups is a lot of the warrants. See, every illegal immigrant that doesn't show up for their court hearing after they're processed and released into the United States, when they don't show up for their immigration hearing, so that a judge can say, you know what, I believe you. I think you do have asylum claim here. 90% of them don't show up, and they disappear, and they think it's fun and games, and off they go and enjoy their lives. But they're going to be on a list, and they're going to be ICE agents who eventually will be looking for them, whether they committed other crimes or not. They're on a list. So when there are serious criminals within a certain area that they're looking for that are here illegally, they will look for other people. If they know where their locations are, they'll round them up too, because it's just more efficient to do it that way. And if you don't have a judiciary warrant, you can't go into their house and get them. So you have to go where you know they're going to be. If they have a local district court appointment and they're aware of it, they're going to wait there. And it angers people who don't understand why they're doing it in places like that and doing it in front of people. And it's angering to some. But that's the only way they can do it. If they know their kids are in a particular school, they'll wait outside of school for the parent, the person they're looking for to show up. They have no other choice. They can't get them any other place. Yeah,
but this last one, he should have been gone out of here too, right? And
it's tragic, right? I know you're referring to down in Texas. We had a guy here for 35 years, and he was the driver of a van bringing workers to a construction site. Now, ICE was looking for somebody in his car. He was not the focus, but he was the driver, and the ICE agents are saying that he wouldn't pull over. He tried to escape. He was willing to escape even at the cost of running over an agent, and they fired on him. Now, whether that is all true or not, we don't know yet. I'm gonna keep my powder dry for now, but I don't buy for a moment. Now they're all saying, "Oh, he was going to work on getting his visa." Well, so hold on. He's been here since 1990, and he's just now working to get his visa. I don't believe that. I don't think he's ever planning on getting his visa.
Yeah, I don't want that man in either. That plan to, how do you say his name?
Which one?
That jerk you were just talking about. The one that's got the Nazi tattoo.
Oh, Graham Plattner.
He's got a funny name, Graham.
Yeah, like cracker.
Yeah, I don't want him in there. And I hate to say this, but she's such a jerk. Elizabeth Warren, what a airhead she is. She likes him so much. He ought to go over there and rape her.
No. She said he's my kind of man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's an airhead. But he's not stepped down yet, really.
Yeah, Monday, because he's going to screw the party over. He's not going to allow them to choose for the state. Because the Democrats were doing that again. They wanted to choose for the state who their replacement was going to be for Plattner, and he's making sure that people get to vote. That's the one thing I might agree with them ever, but they were going to do what they did with Kamala Harris.
Yeah, they lie. The Democrat Party lies so much too. What a mess.
You got to reform, and they're going to have. Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
They're going to have a big civil war. And it's going to literally be civil, because it's just going to be discussion. But the party has to have a serious discussion about the direction they want to go in. Because if you look what's happening, not just in New York, right? Because it's happening in Colorado, it's happening in Minnesota. I think it's happening in Massachusetts. You're getting socialist communist candidates who are rising. And for years, I've been on this station saying, look, you moderate Democrats are the only ones who are going to be able to save this country from, the rise of the communists. It's happening in your party. And they have mostly been afraid to speak out because it's happening so fast and in different circles. They don't want to be eliminated. Their job is job one, is to keep your job, not what's best for your country or your state or your district. It's to keep your job. Thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing today?
Morning.
We were talking about Graham Plattner. Did you happen to catch any of those interviews with the two people that went out to find him and vet him initially? Dan Morin and
the billionaire couple?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you just watched that interview, I started to really question how our political system is set up, because these two people are complete morons. I mean, they were giggling the entire time, just like silly people. And they're the ones that went out with a lot of money and found this guy and cultivated him. And then when they asked, well, did you do any vetting? And they said, well, yeah, we found a lot of stuff that was troubling, but he's such a great character.
I don't believe them. I don't believe that they found anything. I don't think they know what they're doing, and they're just as shocked as anybody. I didn't find their we knew credibility. I didn't think that was credible.
No, I that's what I'm saying. They're like, you can't have people that idiotic actually trying to pick candidates for the Senate.
How do you get that kind of money? Are they trust fund babies? I mean, how are they billionaires? Because you're right, they're not serious people.
Yeah, I was sort of sick to my stomach. I didn't even research it after that. I was just like, because I'm thinking, you guys can't. I mean, I wouldn't trust you guys to watch my kids on TV. Forget about everything else. I mean, you guys are idiots. But yeah, I mean, it is pretty bizarre though that Plattner went through he destroyed Me Too and the Nazi claim for Democrats forever. You can't do Me Too anymore because you had to go through 2 Me Too's to get to someone that they thought was credible. Because,
but look how many people can be led around by the nose by the communists. I mean, look at the No Kings rallies, right? These were very successful. I reluctantly say that, but it's no getting around it. They were very successful, and they were paid for by George Soros and Singham, he's the communist living in China now, gave up his American citizenship. They're funding so that these people just show up and hold signs, whatever they're told to say and whatever they're told to hold. They show up by the tens of thousands in these states.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think the most disturbing is since Trump got elected and Democrats, kind of unhitched, everything. Actually, more what happened after George Floyd is that the complete disrespect for law in general. I mean, they went after the police, obviously, and then the series of judges that have put people back on the street that shouldn't be on the street, and they cause more crime. And, the country has just become more lawless. I mean, one step at a time. And then when you add aggressive immigrants to it, like the Islamist community.
Well, we get madness. We get mad. Tim Walz, I honestly think if he ever volunteered to go into a mental institution to be evaluated, they would keep him. I really believe that. Issues. I mean, you get a child rapist that you pardon because you feel he was picked on because of the color of his skin.
Yeah, that's suicidal empathy. That is probably a disease that they'll figure out later on. Is like you're willing to kill yourself to hypothetically improve somebody else's life that you don't know. You don't know if these people actually had a bad life, but you assume they did because they're black or because they're brown or because of whatever. And then you're willing to subjugate yourself completely to the point where, you're dead. And they're projecting that on us. So
I think everybody should just have this. I mean, I like the way I handle people, and it's called one at a time. I don't judge any demographics. I don't judge a race. I don't judge a sexuality. I don't do any of that. I take people one at a time. I provide dignity and respect unless they forfeit it themselves.
Great.
I mean, that's how I teach my kids. I believe I'm doing things right.
No, I feel the same way. I mean, I live in a pretty diverse community just naturally because whoever bought the house is, they come from different places. I got a Russian family two doors down. I got a Russian Ukrainian family 3 doors down. I've got a black and white couple. She's from Montreal. He's from Côte d'Ivoire, Africa. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Mm-hmm. I mean, and everyone here is quite happy. The kids play together, and the politics isn't necessary. So.
Kids are a great example, right? When you see little kids, and you see interracial groups of kids playing in a playground, they don't care about the color. They don't. Right.
No. They just hang out and play.
Do I like this person? Do I want to play with this person? That's all they care about. That's how it starts out, and then the world is an ugly place, and people get damaged, and then they have a perspective, a point of view that gets damaged. What's that?
And now, my kids luckily I think just barely skated by it, but it's when they go to school, and that's when the indoctrination begins. It used to be reading, writing, and arithmetic, but now it's like, do you know who you are and who the other people are in your class? Well, let me tell you, that you need to have this burden for the rest of your life.
I think the taking down of the Department of Education at the federal level is going to be a great thing for this country. I don't think it's going to be a good thing for the state of Massachusetts because I think they're just going to get more radical, more liberal, more indoctrinated than ever. But overall, for the country, I think letting the states run their education departments. They used to laugh at Mississippi, for example, right? Mississippi's now ranking higher than California for educational progress and in performance. It's a really great thing to see this happen.
No, I hear you. Hey, I'll leave you with this. Did you see what the mistake Mondami made a couple of days ago?
Well,
introduced a new map of the boroughs of New York, and you know how like in
new boroughs
in the old days. What's that?
New boroughs?
Well, so there's always been Harlem. There's always been Little Italy, Chinatown. Ethnically derived communities in New York City.
Little Italy's in Brooklyn.
Where people moved, right? Exactly. Well, he came out with a new map, and he put out Little Palestine, you name a country, and he put a little whatever, little Haiti, and what he left off Little Italy, and the Italians went crazy.
Well, I know. So the other day he made remarks about how New York was built, and he left out the contributions of Irish, Italian, and Jews.
Exactly. Yeah, he's rewriting his own history, and he's trying to,
He's a very dangerous guy because he does have a charming way about him, and he's a nasty guy. Believe me.
He's got a smile on his face like he has a lot of gas. That's what it looks like to me. A guy needs to fart, and then his smiles will go away.
Well, I think Obama is the model, right? Because Obama, very charming, eloquent, presidential timber, all these things, right? He checked all the boxes. But when you look at what he did, helping the Muslim Brotherhood across, endorsing the, what was that movement in North Africa? Arab Spring.
Great.
Killing off moderate and allies to the United States governments, and the Muslim Brotherhood took over. In Egypt, they overthrew Mubarak's government and began killing Coptic Christians and others. The moderates had to go in there and exterminate Obama's chosen Muslim Brotherhood government. They had to go in there and kill them off. So this guy was endorsing a very violent Arab Spring. I believe, he pulled every punch when it came to stopping ISIS. Because you look what Trump did in 3 months. He claims he couldn't do it in 4.5 years. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. This guy was a disaster. The ACA, we're now going to pay a heavy price for that because it wasn't perfectly implemented. It was rushed by fools, by one party. Instead of doing it smart and making it work for everybody, it's now going to be shoved down our throats with all this deficit, the massive increases, and now they don't know what to do with it except for blame Republicans.
Right. Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Trump in Iran, because I think that could be a quagmire.
He has to destroy the regime. He has to have, he's got to help the populace. He has to arm them, and they're going to have to eliminate the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. They cannot exist. That is a terrorist organization.
Well, no question, but that's a lot of capital to do it, human capital, and
I don't think it'll be done while he's president, Steve. I think the next president, maybe J.D. Vance or Rubio, well, one of them will take over, and that's why I really think the future's brighter for Republicans, because Trump's going to be gone, and you're going to have two guys who can eloquently state their positions, who are smart and capable. There's a deeper bench for the next president in the GOP side than the Democratic, and I really like our chances in 28, as long as the next 2 years aren't a disaster.
Yeah, we'll see. I think there's a lot of factioning of not only the Democratic Party with socialism and communism, but the Republican Party is getting factionalized, and MAGA is not going to exist without Trump.
I'm going to stay a step ahead of the Democrats, as I always have. They didn't want to be called liberal at one point, and then they're proud liberals, and now we have proud socialists. Look, cut to the chase. These are communist movements.
Right.
All right.
Listen, you have a great weekend, sir.
Same to you. Thanks for the call.
You bet.
Thank you for waiting. You're on the air.
Good morning, Ken. Gilly
Morning.
Sheffield.
Hey, Gilly.
How you doing? Did you see that little 4-year-old kid on the news that was waving to all the people that used to go by? Hello, hello, hello.
I didn't.
Did you see that on the news?
No.
No, you should see it. He got the whole town behind him. He got everybody in the town. I don't care what nationality, what color you are. They loved the kid. They were going to his games and everything. He got the, it says it's a village to raise the kid.
Yeah.
Well, this kid raised the whole town. He was on the news and everything, only because he was talking about the kids nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you of all people didn't see that news clip.
I do watch a lot of news, but I didn't see that.
Oh, let me tell you something. You look at this, and you're going to be amazed.
Okay.
Amazed. This kid got everybody together. 4 years old.
Which town?
Like he said, I forgot the town.
I mean,
I'm getting old.
Was it in Massachusetts?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, it wasn't Massachusetts. But they had it on the news, on local, non-local news. I think it was Channel. Well, anyways, it was on the news. The kid got everybody together.
I'm sure it'll reach me eventually.
Yeah, well, I hope it's in the next couple of hours. You have a nice day, Ken.
Thank you, Gil. Take care. All right, commercial break. We're returning after this. If you'd like to jump on, I'd love to hear from you. 508-996-0500. You're listening to Ken Pittman on AM 1420 WBSM and 99.5 FM. Or you could be listening on WBSM.com. And we advise you to download the free WBSM app. There's a lot of good reasons to do that. Once you open it, you'll see why.
Daddy-o, get ready to cut a rug. On Thursday, July 16th, New Bedford goes back to the days of chrome, tail fins, and rock and roll. And WBSM is your ticket to the biggest sock hop in the summer. It will be the annual Joe Jesus' 50s night, as thousands of cool cats gather downtown to check out the classic cars, cruise the streets, and relive the days from when rock and roll was king. WBSM will be spinning 9 hours of solid gold hits from the fabulous 50s, bringing the soundtrack to listeners all across the South Coast. Whether you're headed downtown or just hanging loose at home, you're part of the action when WBSM starts rocking. Soundtrack to Joe Jesus' 50s night, July 16th, only on WBSM. Listen on 1420 AM, 99.5 FM, WBSM.com, or the WBSM app. Be there or be square. Joe Jesus' 50s night soundtrack on WBSM is brought to you by Cardi's Furniture and Mattresses, Cottage Street Motors, Shooting Supply, Leach Auto, Glassman Automotive, Riccardi's Restaurant, and Market Back.
Hey. 1420 AM and 99.5 FM. WBSM.
508-996-0500. Brian's. We're making fun of the president's.
I'm excited. Come and look.
What is happening?
Come and look at here. Look what we got. A new Air Force One.
Oh, yeah. No, Trump was so excited to get an Air Force One. It looks like all the defensive measures were not installed, but it's so, the amenities are so nice. Let's use it anyway. And they go to Turkey.
Of all places. I mean.
Which is next, it's adjacent to Iran.
Adjacent to Iran. It's not too far away from Israel. But
Iran's looking to kill Trump. And even the Ayatollah now, his son who's now in charge says this definitely must be done. They are and we were talking about off air. Iranians, this Iranian Revolutionary Guard, they've been killing Shah members, government workers under the Shah of Iran back when he was kicked out in 1979. They've been hunting down his family, regime members, officials, and as late as the early 2000s, they were killing people in France that were part of the Shah's regime. So they're not.
Well, the Shah's regime was pretty brutal.
I mean, they probably shouldn't wait that long if they're going to try on Donald. I don't think Donald will be here 15 years from now, but yeah, it's pretty.
Maybe that's the best time too. I don't know. I hope that nobody tries to go out and kill anybody. But,
absolutely.
Maybe when you least expect it, it's
take them down. I think the only way you're going to get out of this is to take them down.
Take who down?
The whole Iranian regime.
WBSM and W258BR, New Bedford, a Town Square media station.